How's everyone doing today? I am going to be doing a detailed video about the history of my journey. Where I am today, what I went through, the hardships, the lessons I needed to learn, and basically everything about me from the very beginning. I haven't done a video like this in a really long time. I've been getting a lot of questions about it. So I'm going to just jump right into it. But before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button. Comment down below. We really appreciate all the comments. It makes me so happy to see a community of people coming together to help each other out when they think there's no hope. Because I've been there. I thought there was no hope. I thought there was no way to get better. And at the end of the video, I'll walk around and show you guys the dogs again since Milo's. We'll actually show them real quick. Everyone loves to see Milo. Hey, Milo. Who's that? He loves it. He's honestly one of the best dogs, even though he runs through my screen doors and wrecks them. So put this camera a little bit like this. So my name is Nick Piniella. I was born and raised in New Jersey. My father had really bad undiagnosed OCD and was a hoarder. Now, when you look at what they call the OCRDs, the obsessive compulsive related disorders, there are tic disorders, trichto, hoarding, compulsive gambling, compulsive shopping, many obsessive compulsive behaviors, but that don't present in the full-blown disorder with chronic anxiety. One of the main things that they look at when someone is trying to be diagnosed with OCD is there extreme anxiety present? And there are plenty of people, there were plenty of times in my journey where I had no anxiety and plenty of times in my journey where I had anxiety. So the anxiety isn't the determining factor. It is important to say that. My mother, who I love dearly, was born and raised in Brooklyn and Staten Island. She came from two parents, one of them, obviously two parents, one of them who passed away, my grandfather, and then my grandma, who was a diner owner and is still alive today, sweet lady. My mother is pretty close to a diagnosable hypochondriac. My mother really fears death. Which we've talked about a lot. She fears death a lot. So my mother having those genetics and my father having the obsessive compulsive disorder genetics, which then run in his family. So my father, I have a cousin, I have a couple cousins. My dad's mother had contamination OCD. So obsessive compulsive disorder mixed with the Jordan, that's my mom's maiden name, together gave me, which then through, I had a few seizures in my life. I had viral encephalitis and meningitis. I had Epstein-Barr, I have psoriasis, I had a bunch of other things going on. Kind of was the perfect storm for OCD to kind of just take hold. And that's really how my journey actually began. So when I was a kid, I always was odd, you could say. I hid food. A lot of people told me about hiding food. I was a compulsive liar. Sometimes I would lie so many times and then say to myself, why did I even lie? There was nothing to lie about. More than likely, I was lying because I wanted to feel a certain way. That was something that really took me a long time to see. When I got to college in 2011 through 14, my undergrad, 2015 really, I just was different in many different ways. I was always wanted to be the DD. I always was afraid of staying out late. I always wanted to have the perfect sleep routine. I always wanted to have perfect this, perfect that. And then on top of that, I had all these addictions present. So I had, adult website, unhealthy addictive behaviors with the gym, unhealthy addictive behaviors to women, unhealthy addictive behaviors to caffeine and pre-workout, many compulsive behaviors. At this time, I wasn't suffering chronically. I wasn't like a jade where my OCD was latched at 13 years old. I just was this kid. I was a kid with all these really weird structures. Another thing I did that was really odd was I would rub cocoa butter on my body because of the sensation. I really liked the way I was feeling. Many people have heard me talk about that 20, 30 times a day, which I thought was odd. I didn't really understand. I didn't have any self-awareness about why I was doing the things I was doing, which I thought was strange because I had all these weird behaviors that I didn't even chalk up to being OCD. I just chalked them up to like, oh, that's just this weird quirk I had. I think many people will be able to relate to that. Right now, comment down below. Let me know about some of those weird quirks that you remember about yourself before you had chronic OCD or, maybe when you were a kid. But hiding the food, the compulsive lying, and not being able to fucking sit still was a big one for me for a really long time. a little bit about me. I always like to laugh. I always like to joke around. Anyone that knows me knows there's no jokes off the table with me. I joke about death. I joke about all sorts of crazy stuff. I have my dad's ashes in a necklace, and I remember I'm not religious, and it has a cross on it because that's just what we got. And I remember someone said to me, "Oh, that's such a that's no." They said, "I didn't know you were religious," and I said to them, "Hey, dude, my dad's ashes are in there," and I played it so well, and they felt so shitty. And I said, "Dude, it's a joke. It's my dad's ashes. It's not a big deal." And they're like, "Oh my God, dude, you're a savage." So I've always liked to joke around. The reason why I like to joke around is because life doesn't need to be that serious. Life is already serious for many people. But the perception that you have on things really what takes things from a seriousness to an over-seriousness, an over-concern, where you lose out on many of those laughters in life that we're really looking for, that all humans love to have. So that was really, an important thing about me. When I graduated college, I had a lot of compulsive behaviors before I went to grad school. And I had met Erica. And when I met Erica, I was still engaging in many compulsive behaviors, compulsive perfectionistic studying. I always need to be the first one done with a test. I like the feeling of being the first one done. I had all these anxiety issues that would crop up for a second or two, but I didn't chalk it up to anything. And it was all the compulsive, obsessive compulsive sort of taking basically storm. And once it took storm, my father died of pancreatic cancer. My aunt died 3 months later. Then I lost my dog, one of the dogs I grew up with. And I had a seizure in class. They chalked it up to stress, but I was vitamin B7 deficient, which is biotin, which is a water-soluble vitamin, which you need every single day. And what I would do was, part of my obsessiveness with the gym was I would drink raw egg whites for 10 years. When you drink raw eggs at the level I was doing it, I didn't do it for any benefit other than it was just a quick way to get protein in it. People are like, why do you drink protein powder? I'm like, I don't know. After a while, the egg whites just tasted like milk. But there's an enzyme called avidin, A-V-I-D-I-N, that binds to biotin and makes it non-water soluble, so it mimics seizures. So that probably fucked my brain up a little bit too. I mean, who knows? It was all a perfect storm. And then I had the seizure, and that's when things really got bad. I was experiencing depersonalization. I would have these deja vu moments where I would forget who I was. I had a deja vu moment in the bookstore. We'll never forget this. Erica was right next to me. She looked at me and I turned as white as this. I was completely white. I forgot who I was, what my name is, and what type of cancer my dad had. I forgot his name. And they were like, this kid has a brain tumor. That's what they were worried about, right? So they sent me in for all the imaging. EMG in my brain, MRI studies, the whole, 9 yards. And the neurologist said, there's nothing wrong with your brain. Your brain's completely fine. It was funny when I was going in for the test, if they're trying to mimic seizures, what they do is they put all these stress tests on you with lights and everything to try to mimic that. And I would joke and say, dude, I've been to 30 music festivals. I stare at flashing lights for hours. So this wouldn't make any sense to me. And they were laughing, and they came out with that. So where did OCD become a manifestation of a problem? I was driving this isn't true. I was in the pool. The thing I was about to say was my sensory motor. I was in the pool on June 15th of 2019. And I woke up one night and I had ringing in my ear that just never went away. So I had really severe fear of tinnitus for a really long time. Now all the music festivals caught up with me. I still have tinnitus. Sometimes I hear it, sometimes I don't. It's not a big deal. There's no fear of it, so it doesn't really latch. It doesn't latch at all. There's no latching whatsoever. There's no fear of it. Even if I heard the sound for the rest of my life, it's not the end of the world. So after about 3 to 4 months of really struggling in and out of audiology clinics, in and out of reading and watching every documentary on the American Tinnitus Association website, et cetera, I finally felt like I was getting a hang on it. I found a book called Rewiring Tinnitus by someone Schwartz. Glenn Schwartz? I can't remember. That doesn't sound right. It sounds like another author. But anyway, he was talking about how the sound is what's keeping it alive. The fear of the sound perpetuating. What was keeping this alive? And that was really a big thing for me. And then what happened was I was driving, let's go back to that point, and I thought, what else are things you habituate to? And I went hand on the steering wheel, foot on the gas pedal, and then I thought blinking. And in that moment, the gene expressed fully. Many of you remember what we call the light switch moment. So it was like boom, boom, boom. That would freak anyone out, right? Understandably so. So of course I freak out. Erica's like, what's going on? I'm like, so we get back and I'm sprawled out like this on the floor, just completely sprawled out. And she said, you know, what is going on with you? Here comes Miss Daisy. And I said, I cannot stop thinking about my blinking. And she's like, what are you even talking about? And I said, yeah, I can't stop thinking about my blinking. You know, I don't know what's going on with me right now. And then from that point on, things got really bad. You know, I could speak for another hour about everything that happened, but basically, you know, I was in the mental hospital of November 2019, coming up on 3 years ago. I was very suicidal, didn't want to be here. I had a long bout of depression because of my anxiety. I was exhausted all the time. I still was in grad school, so I graduated. I had an extreme video game addiction when I moved here. I mean, it was really bad. I had to bring down a lot of compulsive behaviors. I had to stop compulsively lying. I had to learn how to sit still. I had to learn how to not need to be present, right? We hear a lot of stuff about need to be present, but you can't force the present moment. Trying to force the present moment is like trying to force sleep. It doesn't work. It's an illusion. So where am I today? Where am I today? Sensory motor, I basically completely recovered from. There's nothing there. I have recovered from sensory motor. I developed GAD and body dysmorphia really badly because those fears were always present. I never addressed them. GAD is 90% gone. It lingers here and there. Body dysmorphia is pretty much gone, but lingers a little bit. And everything else, I have a good handle on ROCD fears, harm OCD fears, existential. I don't really have a fear of death. Harm OCD, no. I'm in a good spot. I have work to do, but I'm 98% better than where I was. Now, I've been working on this for 3 years. 3 years of ups and downs, of backdoor spikes, of not knowing if I'm going to be able to make it in my mind, of am I reading this right? Am I reading it too compulsively, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that we fall into, all the traps that OCD sufferers fall into. And I am here to tell you that there is so much hope. There is so much hope. Even if you don't see the results you want to see for the rest of your life, you could still live your life. You could still do the things you want to do. You could still go for the hikes, go on vacations, get married. You know, never let OCD stop you from doing anything. The amount of times I've turned on this video camera where I'm just tired from the day or I got things to do, it doesn't matter. I get it done because it's part of my mission and part of my purpose. My purpose is to help change OCD forever. I'm going to be here forever. I'm never going away. I'm sorry. I love making content. I'm always trying to change, always trying to do things to change things up. It's just really, really, really important. Daisy, you're going to be showing the video soon. So that's really my backstory. You know, addictions, compulsive lying, compulsive exercising, body dysmorphia, GAD, everything you can imagine. I was there, all the physical symptoms of anxiety, 24/7, pounding away, never going away, everything. And I'm here to tell you there's hope. You can get better. You can get better. Now, before we end the video, let's put this up and let's show a little bit of Daisy. So, yeah, Boo-Boo, you go ahead. No, she's trying to get underneath. Come here. Go ahead, go through. I know they all love seeing you. So, Daisy is a Pit Bull Staffordshire mix. She is the cutest. And then Milo, obviously, I show Milo a lot. Milo is a Hound Rottie mix, we think. But, you know, there's something very special about Daisy, as she was my emotional support animal. Can I have a paw? Oh, that's so cute. You're so cute. Even though you wake me up in the middle of the night 3 times a night and I sleep 3 hours a night straight for the last 10 years. Even though I only had you for like 5 or 6. I've never been a big sleeper. Let's actually, I want to add, I've never been a good sleeper, right? I sleep good in the cold. But yeah, I mean, I've always, you know, this morning I got up at 4:30 in the morning. Tomorrow I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning. I've just never been someone who slept a whole lot. So I think it's so key to cover all that because there's so many things that are you know, that go into OCD. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith. Please don't. Please don't. I can't talk to everyone. There's too many people, but I'll try. I'll try to talk to you. I'll try to shoot you some advice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com. There's a lot of hope. The webinars are a lot of fun. We have a blast. We joke around. We laugh. They are just so great to speak to people all over the world. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, Have a great day.